Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with the Trumpet for My People. Today is March 1st, 2018, and I want to share some more things that I have found here. I said that I would be investigating more about the connection between Purim and Yom Kippur, and I found something quite interesting, and it's quite amazing, and honestly, it's a real confirmation of the connection between Yom Kippur and Purim. Okay, let's look at a couple things here. The first thing we talked about was this Purim code that shows that within the book of Esther there is a prophecy that leads us to 1946 and the hanging of Haman's sons. Okay, and then there was the Nuremberg trials in 1946, and 10 Nazis were hung for war crimes, and then at the hour of his death, the last person hung, Julius Streicher, cried out, "Purim Fest 1946." Okay. Well, then, we were talking about this year and how there is, on the date of Purim, there are two dinners, one for Donald Trump and one for Barack Obama. We talked about the connection to the two goats and Yom Kippur and how this is connected, the two goats, and both of them having their banquets on the same night. The two goats of Yom Kippur. And then we talked about Yom Kippur, which means a day like Purim. And so there is within the name Yom Kippur, there is an understanding, or the meaning of Yom Kippur can be spoken Yom Kippurim, a day like Purim. Okay? So we've talked about this. Now, here's some other connections I want to bring forth here. Okay, we see that in the book of Revelation and also in the book of Daniel, it talks about the beast with 10 horns, the dragon, that ancient serpent. Another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his heads 7 diadems. His tail swept down a third of the stars of heaven and cast them to earth. Okay, so we have a beast with 10 horns. And it's interesting that in the book of Esther, in the story of Purim, Haman had 10 sons. Haman had 10 sons, and these are like his 10 horns. Okay? And then we saw the story of the Nuremberg trials and the Nazi war criminals who were hung, and there were 10. Okay, so we have a connection to the number 10. We have a connection to 10 horns. Is the dragon, the 10-horned dragon, connected to Purim? Is it connected to Purim? Are the 10 horns connected to the 10 sons of Haman, to the 10 Nazi war criminals? Okay, and so we see that just as Haman had 10 sons, there were 10 Nazi war criminals hung in the Nuremberg trials for war crimes against the Jews. Now, look at this interesting connection that I found, okay? October 1st, 1946, the Nuremberg trials concluded on October 1st, 1946. This happened to be the Day of Atonement. Okay, what did we say? Yom Kippurim, a day like Purim. Okay, it was on this day. It was at the end of the trials, and when Julius Streicher was hung, he cried out Purim Fest. Purim Fest 1946. And we have a connection between the Nuremberg trials, Yom Kippur, and Purim, which is a day like Purim. Yom Kippur, a day like Purim. Okay, from the Jewish Virtual Library, here's an article. I'll leave this link for you. And we can see about the Nuremberg trials and the Nazi war crimes. And within this article, then, it says the proceedings began on November 20th, 1945, and were concluded on October 1st, 1946, the date of Yom Kippur, the Jewish Day of Atonement, with a judgment in which 12 defendants were sentenced to death, 3 to life imprisonment, 4 to prison terms, and 3 acquitted. The death sentences were carried out by hanging on October 16th and 17th, 1946, except for that of Goering, who took poison before he could be executed. So Hermann Goering committed suicide before the trial, or before the hanging, and then 10 people were hung. Okay, but the trial ended on the Day of Atonement, October 1st, 1946. This is from the Jewish Virtual Library. Okay, so we have a connection here. Yom Kippurim, a day like Purim. We have Purim Fest, 1946. Is this something that will be lived again, reenacted again, when the 10 sons of Haman were executed, the 10 Nazi war criminals were executed, and the 10 horns that will be judged, the 10 horns of the Antichrist that are going to be judged. Now here's one other thing I found that I want to share with you guys. Okay guys, so the last thing I've seen here, as we were searching for the sign of the dragon in the middle of December, based on the Revelation 12 sign and the sign of the dragon, okay, we were also trying to understand the 80 days of the birth ritual of the female child, seeing that the female child, the birthing ritual is 14 plus 66 days. Okay, that's interesting. That's the number of the beast. And, you know, that would apply to the Antichrist, who is gay, the birthing ritual of a female. And so we were searching for this in December. Well, here's a couple events that took place in December that lead us by 80 days to March 3rd, the Obama Beast Feast. We have on on December 13th was the Muslim Alliance. Okay, and here might be a connection to the 10 horns. I know there were 57 Muslim states that came together, but you know, I'm sure that this has to do something with the 10 horns of the beast. And so they came together on December 13th, and then 14 days later, the Obama interview was revealed with Prince Harry, where Obama said, "I am a blink of the eye." That happened on December 27th when that interview came out. And that's 14 days. And then if we add 66 days from December 27th, we come to March 3rd. 2018. Is this the final revealing of the dragon? Okay, we have the text from Leviticus chapter 12. And in verse 5 it says, "But if she bears a female child, she will be unclean 2 weeks, as is her customary impurity, and she will continue in the blood of her purification 66 days.